even though like I know like, you know, my agency is like pretty successful, like Blanked is going well, I was still worried. Like I'm just being as honest as I can, and I hope like whoever listens to this like knows like you're not alone. Like if you're like, everybody's scared of like what other people think, right? But yeah, one day I was just like, if I'm all in, I need to go all in. Like I need to be all in. So I started showing my face more. I started doing voiceovers more, and then I'm just gonna push as much content as I can, because I really don't want to end up like 5 years down the road. I'm just like, I should have done this. I should have done that. Yeah, I'm really giving everything I got in terms of content at least.
What's up, guys? Rich here. You're listening to the 2610 podcast, a place where we aim to share, along with the help of our guests, best practices you should be using in order to grow and scale your business on social media. If you find this episode useful, then please share with a fellow entrepreneur, founder, marketer, or anyone else who might also get some value from it, and let's all grow together. With that said, let's jump straight into it. Okay, today myself and Scott are joined by Mr. Brandon Wang, otherwise known as Brandino. He is a social media sensation, if you don't mind me saying. He has over 1 million followers on TikTok. He rose to fame with his incredible aesthetic style vlog videos, and now his biggest achievement to date, he is here talking to us. Brandon, how we doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on. How are you guys?
Thank you for coming on. Yeah, we're great. Thank you for coming on.
You should be honoured as well. You're our first guest. I know you were saying to us before this that this is your first podcast, but you're our first guest. So this is big history today. Big history.
History being written right now. So yeah, I guess anyone tuning in has probably seen your videos at this point, Brandon. But I guess the purpose of this is just to run through some things and hopefully give people an idea of what you're about and what you're really trying to do and how your journey's been so far. And hopefully people can learn from you, anyone listening. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of e-com guys and startup guys sort of like looking at what you're doing potentially. And if we can teach them anything, then that would be great. So how is everything going? How is everything going for you so far?
Everything is going as good as it can, I guess. When you're building a business, pretty much anything that can go wrong will go wrong. I think, like when building a business, like I always see other people like they say like, oh, like I just got all this stock and it was like all faulty, or like the manufacturer messed it up. So, and I've just firsthand experienced that like this last week. Like this batch of incense holders were like completely messed up, and I've had to like scramble to find a new manufacturer. So it's like really stressful, but you know, like a year ago I was like, I want this kind of problem. Like I want to have customers that like, and I'm like dealing with the problem of like, how do I like ship this out, versus like no sales at all. So it's just like, it's a very interesting feeling right now.
That's an interesting point, because a lot of people would look at problems as negatives, but you're actually wanting it to happen. So I guess you can learn from it. Is that the idea? And I guess the more you get out the way early, because it's kind of expected, right? Like when you're starting out, it's like, we've got this problem with this, whatever. You're going to have problems always. But yeah, that's a good mindset to have. What do you do apart from making videos, like on a daily basis?
Yeah. So I have like a very strong filmmaking background. So I got into photography and filmmaking very, very early on in high school. I just picked up my dad's camera and then I started making videos. Every time I had a chance to shoot like a school project, I would always pick the video route, and none of my classmates would do that. They'll be like, you're crazy, it's so much work. But I really loved it. And then going out of high school, I just started shooting like concerts. And then I got super involved in like that scene, and I started picking up clients. So that's kind of like what I do on the side right now as well. I help a lot of brands just like shoot like really cool content and help them like kind of creative direct. I also run a creative agency where I help a lot of personal brands scale on like social media. Yeah. So people who have had success with like their first business and now they want to build out their personal brand, whether it to be, launch a consulting business or launch a course, launch a secondary business. That's kind of like what my agency does.
That's really cool.
Can I ask just quickly, Brandon, how old are you? You look very young.
Yeah, I'm turning 24 this year.
Oh wow, that's really good. Yeah, we're old guys compared to you. Well, Rich is anyway. I'm still near your age.
Oh, we're going there again. I can't do one episode without you bringing up my age. It's just because I look so good for it, Scott, isn't it?
Yeah, very true. Don't know what moisturizer he's using.
yeah. But no, that's a good point you make there, Scott, because I think, although I'm not a big, partly because I'm getting older, I guess, and I try not to think about age too much, but it is quite impressive that you're doing all this so young too, and it's quite inspiring to see. And I think we live in an age now where everything is kind of possible. As cheesy as that sounds, right? It's like, I don't know how easy and accessible this would have been, say, 20 years ago, right? Or when I was growing up, back in my day, right? Like, but yeah, there's a huge amount of opportunity out there, and it seems as though you're taking. I didn't even know that you had all this going on, though. I'll be honest, like it's very
quite private. Yeah, I don't really like showcase that much because it's really not that interesting in my opinion. It's a lot of just like person to person type of business, right? Like scaling an agency is just a people's game, and you're really trying to like figure out the right people to hire, figure out the right clients to work with. So I don't talk about that too much. No.
That's fair. So when you say you've always been making content in video in particular, I guess what was, when you started your TikTok, the main question, the main thing I want to get at here is like, why did you pivot? Because I saw a few of your first videos, earlier videos, it was very different to what you're doing now.
Yeah.
And what was that decision like for you? Like, why did you think I'm going to go from doing this to, because it looked as though, I don't know if you've removed videos or whatever, but it looked as though it was quite a sudden, just a flick of a switch type change. So
so it's actually like a pretty interesting story. I got into TikTok fairly early in late 2019 and beginning of 2020, and the reason I got into TikTok was I have a lot of friends who use the Chinese app, like the Chinese version of TikTok, and then they just helped me download it, and I was just scrolling, and there was a lot of like photography stuff. I was like, hold on, there's TikTok here. I'm good at photography. I think there's an opportunity for me here. So then that's exactly what I did. I just showed before and after, like how I'm going about shooting this photo, composition, the shutter speed, ISO, etc. And then I just show the final result, and that gained me a massive following. Like when people say like stuff happens overnight, like that literally happened to me overnight. Like my water droplet video like hit 5 million views overnight, and I gained like 300,000 followers. And then I made like that iPhone soap bubble video, and that gained like 10 million views. And then I hit like 1 million like super quickly. And I remember just sitting in school, and then like all my classmates were like, I was like, hold on, like I saw your video. And then everybody, I was just like, it was like super trippy for me. And then in 2020, I got burnt out. I was like putting out too much content. I made it my life's mission to like think of a creative photography idea every single day, make a video, shoot it, everything, edit, and then post it. And it was just too much for me, balancing like my college work and also that. So then I took a break in 2020. In 2021, I just kind of played with like other smaller businesses, but nothing really stick. And I've always had this burning desire to start my own lifestyle brand, whether it be clothing or home decor. And I'll get into this later. But in 2022, I was like, okay, if I'm going to start this lifestyle brand, I need a platform, right? Like, I think that's super important. But like my platform is like all photography. So what do I do? So then I was like, okay, here's the game plan. Like everything you see on my TikTok is 100% planned. Like everything's meticulously planned, like step by step. So then I was like, okay, I have some money saved up. A, I'm going to move out. B, I'm going to deck it out super nice. And then C, I'm going to like just film everything and then just document everything and then pivot my TikTok into a apartment, like interior design, lifestyle kind of like algorithm. And at the same time, every day I was just dedicate like an hour every morning just scrolling through like interior design stuff. and it was really really like brutal for me because I honestly don't like scrolling through social media that much. But I was like, I need to like kind of change this algorithm like of my social feed. So I posted like almost every day, and then I just started scrolling every single day, and it just eventually 3 or 4 videos hit, and I gained like 200,000 followers of just purely lifestyle stuff. And then I was like, okay, well now I have, like now I have like a decent following that I could probably like launch something off of. Yeah, that's kind of like my story for like how I think about like my TikTok content.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
It's a
that was
lot.
really that was
That
really
is a cool
good.
story.
I love hearing like the stories behind how things come about, and a lot of people like kind of get that video that really pops, and then nothing comes from it, and then it'll just be here and there. But you've took that and followed up, and you've built this empire, to say. Just a quick like question as well. Is it just you that does everything, or do you have like anyone that like has an input in the business as well?
No, the business is 100% me. I do have a mentor that is like super helpful. He helps me with like any question I have, whether it's life or business, but the actual meats of the business is 100% me. Yeah.
That's awesome. I just wanted to touch on, you said everything you do is planned. So essentially what you're saying there is when you were thinking about switching over, you had the big goal in mind of launching a product alongside. So it was content first, then product, was it? I take it.
Yeah. And all the content I put out, I had an end goal of eventually I'm going to launch a business based off like this content putting out. And the beginning of Blank Studios was I really wanted to do clothing. And then at the time, like every single video you go on my TikTok, I would either be wearing like a t-shirt from my brand or a hoodie from my brand. And the colors that I choose to include in the videos are very on par with the brand, right? And like the decor that I use in my home is very on par with my brand. So it's like a lot of concrete, a lot of cement, a lot of like metals, and a lot of like this blue color. Like every part of like my apartment and like how I shoot it and how I color grade it and post, it's like everything is planned, and I pay a lot of attention to detail, right?
Yeah,
Because
it's like meticulous,
yeah, I'm like really trying to hone in like my brand identity just through videos, and I just know if it constantly hits the For You page and if people keep seeing it, they'll just eventually like recognize me, right?
And I think that's an important note there, because I think what you've done, which every really successful brand does so well, is what is happening. Like, who the video is from. Like, I remember seeing a few of your videos, and I knew that, I mean, we all like, I'm not going to try and, I guess suck you off here, like, so to speak, but like, without seeing your, like, I wouldn't know it was you, right? But I'd know that I'd seen that content before. Like, and we've all been there when you're scrolling social media, or, even if an ad pops up on TV, you sort of know what brand it is before you even, before the end thing comes on, before you look at the name or whatever. And I think that's what you've done so well. And I think anyone listening, there's the first lesson, is really try to make content first. That's the first thing, and actually be engaging. Like, too many people try and sell. We say it so many times, but people are trying to sell first and then make content after, and it doesn't quite work out on social media all that well for them. But also what you do really well is you have a brand identity, is I guess what the corporates would call it, and yeah, you do that really well. But it's interesting that you've thought about that to the point where, because I'll be honest, like, I looked at it and I thought, is this by accident? Like, did you just make like really cool aesthetic home vlogs because you're in love with your apartment, and then it's like, shit, this is doing really well, make a product?
Yeah,
but obviously not.
I think a lot of people like come across it by accident. Like, there's brands like Every Other Thursday by Ethan. He's from Toronto, or was from Toronto, and I'm pretty sure he didn't have the end goal of like building a business. I think he just started posting like his fits, his lifestyle, and then like people really vibed with like his overall aesthetic, and then I think it made sense for him. I think I'm not sure, I can't speak for, I don't know 100%, but like that's just like the vibe I got. Like, I think many people just stumble into a business, but like for me, I was like, I've always wanted to build a business. So, and I've like studied so many like different creators and how they do it. So I'm just like, okay, I need to put out content for the only goal of building a business. So like it was like one road only. There was like,
That's cool.
yeah, it's like no side roads.
It's cool that you've also done it organically too. Like, have you ran any ads?
Yeah, it's a funny story. Like when I started this clothing part, I started doing ads, and it didn't work, and B, I got banned in like 2 days.
Why did you get banned? Why?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think it was something about like the following, or like they thought I was suspicious or something like that. Like Facebook ads, it's like super,
oh wow,
super annoying. Yeah, and then I was like, you know what? Well, F you. I'm just gonna like, I'm just gonna do it organically, and like I'm gonna make it work organically. Yeah.
But I think that, again, going back to it, the time that we're living in right now, it is possible, right? And I don't know how long that opportunity is going to be there for. We'll get onto that probably a little bit later. But yeah, did you have then? So obviously, to have an idea, usually an idea comes from inspiration of some sort. Have you got any inspiration? Like what made you think it's actually possible? I know you said you've studied various creators and stuff, but it was maybe even to go as niche as the actual niche that you're in, like home decor, for example. Like, did you have an inspiration in that regard, or was it just like, I'm going to take another inspiration and put it into this niche?
Yeah. So the home decor part was not planned. It wasn't part of the original plan. The first plan was to sell clothes, and then I quickly went onto TikTok, and I was like, wow, like there's too many, and like what differentiates me from like all these other brands, right? Like, yeah, I have a cool color, I have a cool like fit or whatever, but like how do I convey that so well on video where people buy from me instead of other people? And I just didn't see that as a viable like business. Like from a business perspective, I didn't see that as like the way to go. So then I was like, okay, now then I need to pivot. And then I've always wanted to do home decor products. So I was like, you know what? I'll figure it out. Like I'm just going to dive right in and I'll figure it out. And like now looking back, my mentor touched on this as well. It's like the barrier to entry to home decor is like 10 times higher than like just making a hoodie, because anybody can go on like Alibaba or find any supplier, splash money on it and get a product, right? But for home decor, you need to like source from like 20 different manufacturers. Like the packaging is from one manufacturer, right? And then like the foam is from a different manufacturer, the metal is from different, the wood, and then someone needs to assemble it and someone needs to package it, right? So yeah, everything, like the home decor stuff wasn't like the OG plan, but I just went with it, and I was like, you know what, I'll figure it out as I go, and I'm still figuring it out, but yeah, it's working out so far.
I love that.
I love that. The part just there you said about being different to everyone. One thing that we see from like clients that have come and gone through us is that they'll always say, like, for content and kind of ideas that, oh, we want it to be like this person's, and there's never that like, I want it to be different. It's always like, yeah, I just want it to be like their videos. They do it like this, I want to do it like that. But the way you said it there, I want to be different, I think that just shows like how far you still will go with this, because you're always looking for that kind of next level in your own way. But that's really, really good, especially at your age as well, to have that mindset, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to copy, right? It's so easy to copy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, for example, like, I'm not sure if you guys know, but like Cactus Flea Market, like the puffer print or like very cartoon designs on like hoodies and stuff. Like I see that all over TikTok, and it's a cool aesthetic, 100%. But like out of the hundreds, probably only one or two make it out of there, right? And
yeah,
and I'm not taking that chance. Like I need to go into this like with a much higher chance of like quote unquote making it. So I was just like, you know what? Like as much as I love creating clothes and creating garments, and as much as I love clothes myself, I was like, from a business perspective, this doesn't make sense. So I made the pivot immediately. I didn't think twice about it.
Nice, man.
Yeah, and also like like you say, their competition. It's just it's crazy. There's not a day now that goes by that I don't see a new clothing brand pop up on TikTok.
Yeah.
It's just very it's becoming even more saturated, which is crazy. It's like
It is. Especially with like how cheap it is to like start a business nowadays. Like cost to attention has never been lower. Like you could post something on TikTok, right? And it could go viral overnight and your life could just change. Right. And then just based on that concept, it gets so many people excited, which is a good thing. Like I really like seeing all these people like being super ambitious and like creating something that they really love. But at the same time, like everybody has even playing field now. Like so, like what's gonna differentiate you from other people? Like anybody can film a video and like, you know, make a hoodie nowadays. But like what are people gonna like? Why should they buy from you? Right. So yeah, that's the way I'm like thinking about it right now.
Yeah, and one thing that you said there that I just want to pick up on. You said anyone could go viral and your life can change overnight. When that happened to you, one, what did it feel like? I know you said it was crazy. And two, were you prepared for it / did you expect it?
Yeah, so the original virality, like for my photography stuff, my life did change. I was getting tons of brand deals. I worked with Google, Dell, TikTok Canada. That was extremely life-changing for me. And a lot of opportunities just started flying at me. But I think, and I don't want to sound like pretentious or whatever, but like this recent, like the virality numbs, right? You get used to it, as to like with anything you achieve, right? You eventually like just get used to it. So I'm pretty like calm about it now. I would get excited, but cool, like that worked. Like why did it work? You know, like how can I replicate that for my other videos? But I'm not gonna just sit there and like keep refreshing and be like, oh my god, I got so much views, this is sick. You know, like yeah, like my dopamine receptors are like kind of numb to it now.
That's interesting. Do you feel like I know you said you're numb to it, but do you ever put out a video and it doesn't hit and you're like, does that have a negative impact on you?
I put 100% of my, or 110% of like effort into every single one of my videos. So when it doesn't hit, it does like get to me a little bit, but it's just the nature of the game, right? Like there's a million reasons why your video doesn't hit. It doesn't necessarily mean your video is not good. It could be the time you post, right? It could be like the first batch of people that TikTok pushes it to just wasn't like the type of people that you wanted to reach, or there's like a million reasons. It doesn't mean it's a bad video. I don't think too much about it, right? And then my mentor was like, even if your videos that don't go viral, they're probably hitting the right people, which is still valuable to you, right? So that's how I'm thinking about it right now. It doesn't get to me that much.
Yeah, and that's a good point. That's a great point. We say that a lot as well, you know, like views don't equal success. I mean, they definitely help, but you know, if you've got even 10 views and it's all 10 people who are going to be like super invested and buy from you ultimately over 1 million views, and 1 million of those people don't really care, then 1 million views definitely looks way better. But yeah, from a business standpoint or from like, you know, an actual organic standpoint, I guess it's can sometimes be more beneficial to go the other way. I guess then my question to you would be, if like how much do you then look at the analytics? Like, do you really take it apart? Like, are you a very analytical guy? Like, would you look at the retention, watch time, and like try and break it down that way and go, shit, maybe my hook wasn't that good, or whatever the case is? Or do you just go, whatever, move on?
Not really, no. Like, and that might surprise a lot of people. My goal is very like my only focus is like my end goal, which is to just create amazing content that could impact people and that could eventually grow the brand. And I would just kind of look where the retention dropped and like what I could improve on, but I don't like you know, like research it and like dive deep and like break it down like second by second. I know like some people do that. I just focus on the next video. Like I have a video, I post it, and I think about the next. Like I don't really look back. Yeah.
Do you I know like we say this a lot to a lot of our clients, is to interact with like the community. So obviously like comments and stuff. And I've seen like a lot of your videos and you do get a load of comments. And I'm pretty sure I have seen some of your videos that you react to comments. Do you like pay much attention to the comment section, I guess, in like TikTok videos, Instagram comments?
Yeah. If I'm being like 100% honest, no. Because like I do get like quite a bit of hate. And sometimes if I keep reading that, it does get to me. You know, like we're all human. So that's something I really need to improve on. Is just like not care about it and like really go through the comments, because sometimes I do, and there's tons of amazing comments, and like I just feel like so grateful for like this really supportive community. But like sometimes if I'm just like, for example, like this past week, like everything was going wrong with the incense holders, and then a bunch of people were like just commenting like in like snarky comments, and I'm just like, okay, like I need to like get off this app, you know. So I definitely don't engage as much as I should, but that's something like this year I really want to improve on, and just like kind of stop caring about like those comments. Yeah, it's gone better. Before it was like really bad.
Yeah, there's always like the negative side of social media, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. We're as humans, it's very easy to focus on and look at the negatives. You could have 100 great comments, and then one bad comment, you just like, why is this guy saying this, you know? And
you just dwell on
it's
those comments.
Yeah, it's strange how our mind works, but yeah, as part of it, like you say, and hopefully you can learn to just build that hard shell and just bounce them off, and yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
They're
for
only
sure.
jealous. I always say it's one of those things. If someone has got the time to comment negatively on a TikTok post, it says a lot about them in the first place. And
Yeah, it does.
yeah, and Gary V talks a lot about empathy with those types of people, and it's a sad reality, I guess, of the world that we're living in. So yeah, try not to let it affect you too much, I guess. Okay, moving on then into like more the actual videos then. So, I mean, I've got 1,000,001 questions. We probably don't have the time to go into everything, but like your editing is phenomenal. I mean, you're shooting, like you clearly know what you're doing. How long does it take you to edit 30 seconds worth of video?
Yeah, it depends. For the I guess like previous 5 videos that I put out, about 2 hours, I would say. That includes like shooting and editing. Sometimes it'll take me up to like 3 hours. Everything is shot on my iPhone. Like I have like really professional cameras, but I don't really like using those. I think the iPhone is super intuitive, and I just shoot, airdrop to my MacBook, drag it into Premiere Pro, and it's edit. If I don't like it, I'll go back, shoot it again, and then drag it, right? Like it's just it's like super intuitive. Yeah. So my workflow, I got it like hammered down.
Yeah, nice. So there's no need for like, cables or any of that, and like extracting SD cards and all of that you get with a camera. And also as well, like we've reached a point, I think TikTok brought it about, like YouTube was different. People really warmed to better quality content there for a long time, but I think I think the immersion of TikTok very much changed that. But what I would say about your videos, although they're shot on an iPhone, they're not the standard shot on an iPhone type video that you might normally associate with a TikTok video. And so I guess then what would your thoughts be on quality as a whole? Are you starting to see a bit more of a shift now on TikTok towards quality?
I wouldn't say there's like a shift. I think the lower quality, just kind of like green screen videos do work, right? Like at the end of the day, it's just how you convey your message and like what works best for you. For me personally, that just isn't me. I love editing videos. I love creating great content, and I think if I create great content, people that watch it get like a nice hit of dopamine. They're gonna be like, "This guy's it," you know. So that's just who I am. But if you want to scale a business, I 100% wouldn't say like creating like top-notch quality content like me is 100% the way to go. Yeah, you should really find something that works for you. And like for me, creating content is honestly like pretty hard, if I'm being honest. Like just putting myself out there is super hard. I'm like very introverted person. So for me, I was just like, okay, how can I like what gets me excited to shoot videos? so it's like those cool transitions, right? Those cool like sound effects and how I like frame every shot. Like that gets me really excited. And when I like press export, I was like, yeah, this is a video I want to post. So that's how I'm like going about it.
So you said that
Nice.
you take like 2 hours, so that's shooting, editing, and kind of like the planning of it, I guess.
Oh no, the planning is separate. So how I go about shooting all of my content is on one day. And I recently just put in this strategy that works super well. One day I would plan all of the content. So I have like this Notion template, and then I would just figure out the overarching theme of the week. So maybe this week's theme is like what stuff do I use for creativity and stuff. So maybe I'll drop a video about that, and then I'll drop a video about like, I don't know, like pencil and paper, like just to give an example, right? And then I would just plan the entire week's content with scripts and everything. And then the next day I would shoot everything. And then
Right.
on the editing day, like I would just edit, and anything I want to reshoot, I would just reshoot. There has been days where I get to editing and I'm just like, I hate this video. And I just rescript it, reshoot it, and then just edit it all over again. That has happened like 2 or 3 times. But this new system, I think, works super well for me. And I highly recommend for anybody who's like wants to like batch like film content, like just do this. And it's so much easier to pump out content.
Do you like put pressure on yourself to meet sort of like deadlines? So I want to post XYZ amount of times, or like, per week, or is it just more, if this doesn't work, it's okay, and I just make it when I sort of feel energized and, like you said, like happy about the actual stuff that you're making?
Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with putting pressure on myself. This, like, recently I've been more relaxed about it. But like when I was about to release my second version of Liquid Metal, the night before I was super upset at myself because I had 2 months of time since the first version until now, and I only put out like 6 or 7 pieces of content. And I was just sitting in my room like, what was I doing for 2 months? So like as soon as I dropped Liquid Metal 2.0, I made a promise myself to at least put out 2 videos a week. And I think like, yeah, it's like I'm not putting pressure on myself I need to post every day, but like I'm putting enough pressure where like I need to at least pump out like 2 videos a week, so
Nice.
yeah, that's how I'm going about it.
And say you post, if you post 2 videos a week, have you got like an expectant, like do you expect a number from that? Like, are you like, this video is going to get 1 million, or are you just like, whatever happens?
Yeah, whatever happens. I think the topic of the video matters to me than the views, right? Like for example, this recent video I put out about like what creative tools I use. I already knew it's not going to hit that hard, but tons of people ask, right? And if I could kind of guide them how, like what creative tools I use, I think that's like, and if I can impact like their creative process, I think that's like way more impactful than like it reaching 1 million views and like everybody only takes in like 20% of the video, right?
Yeah, that's a really interesting strategy, and something I've got a lot of time for, and I've got a lot of respect for. I think, again, it goes back to selling. Like, you could easily have made, because that video was very well done. Like, for anyone that's not seen that, I don't know when this episode will come out, where we're talking right now, but, like you said, your most recent one, it's so good. Like, in terms of like how you've edited it and how you put it together, it's awesome. And what I'm saying here is that clearly took a long time, and you could have easily used that time to make something else about your product that would potentially get you loads of sales, make you loads of money, but you actually took the time to help people, which I feel it shows who you are. And I think, again, there's a great lesson there for everyone listening, again, is, it's not all about you sometimes. And I think in order to be successful, to really build sort of longevity, I guess, but I think, though, to force it as well, like, you're clearly that sort of person. You want to help other people, and some people just don't have that, unfortunately. But now that's really cool. I love that. I'll be honest, I think that's great.
And
just to jump in here. Sorry, just to jump in, I just wanted to go on to that. Like, with the videos that you do, I know you was just saying about the one you done this week. Do you find like those kind of videos work best as well? The the ones that you're explaining the story behind how you come up with the products. Because I come across on those videos recently. It was on my For You page. I think probably because I follow you now, but it come up and yeah, like it just, for some reason, it's just so like aesthetically pleasing and it's so informative. Do you feel like those kind of videos work best than just kind of, I don't know, maybe when you're just promoting the product in a sense?
Yeah, like I think you really need to, like, just going back to like replying to comments. Like I don't necessarily like go through the comments and reply them because, you know, like I said, I was like worried about what I was gonna read, but I kind of like generally know like what people want to see. So, and I would try to give them like, and just be as transparent as possible with what I use, you know, how I'm thinking about design and like how am I navigating like these problems. And I get dozens of DMs a day and I reply to every single one. Like they would ask me like, oh, like, did you go to school? And I'll just reply, you know, like people like are curious. And I remember when I was first starting out, like I was asking like all these like top founders and they would just ignore me and I was super upset. So like every single DM I get, I reply, or I try to the best of my ability. I can't get to like obviously like all of them, but most of them I reply. And it's like, and I would have a conversation with them. It's like, oh, where'd you go to school? And it's like, did you go to school for this? I'm like, no. And then we kind of like bounce back and forth for a little bit and try to give them some guidance. So yeah, like I really care about like people who support me. And yeah, I think I believe a lot in like giving back.
That's really interesting. So I'm hoping that you're going to reply to my DM sometime soon anyway.
Are you in his DM, Scott? Is there something you need to say in here? I love that. Have you been recognized on the street? Has anyone like randomly come up to you like, hey, I love your videos or anything? No, nothing. Nothing.
Like honestly, I think it's because like I'm Asian and I look like every other kid that lives here. So yeah.
Fair. You're in Canada, right?
Yeah, born and raised in Vancouver.
Nice.
Yeah, I love it here. It's a beautiful city.
That's cool. Never been, but it looks cool. What's the weather like right now?
Very hot right now. Like it came
it's
out
very
of
hot.
nowhere.
Yeah, it's kind of like in the UK. We're getting there.
Slowly.
Nice. I'm going to go a bit deeper. I hope you don't mind, Brandon.
Let's do it.
I just want to get a gauge of like what this looks like because these numbers are crazy, right? Like so. Let's see. So this video here, 14. No, that's an ad. Is that an ad for a different product? Or is that an ad for? Add my. Oh yeah. That is cool. I love that transition. Well, maybe 14's a bit crazy. Let's just go something more like 1.4 million. Perfect. It's got the product. It's very clear. How many sales did you make from that video? You don't have to give me numbers, just like a roundabout.
Could you just clarify which video you're talking about?
The jam-packed design day, 1.4 million views.
Oh, gotcha.
Probably a couple of weeks ago.
My website
now,
was closed when I
way.
Released that. Yeah. So this is how I'm actually like thinking about content as well. When the website is open, I only put out content that could drive sales. So I'm explaining the product. Like why is this design like this? Why is the product like this? How do I use it for decoration? What are the different purposes of the product? That's for when the website is open. When the website is closed, I talk about everything else, and that drives people to the website, and then I get the email signups. So that video I planned just so until after I closed the website, and it drove a couple of hundred like waitlist signups. That one didn't go viral like immediately. It had like a slow rise. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. So what about this one then? The 5 million viewed video about the should we drop? Because I presume you dropped that already. You just used that caption as a bit of a.
No, that
or not. That was
that one. So like that was my first video of ever I put out for liquid metal, and it just hit like immediately.
Yeah.
Like I was driving home and then my phone was like going off and I was like, okay, something is going on here. Yeah, so that one was, it got a lot of like, again, like email signups, and I posted a couple like follow-up videos. I got, I think, a couple 100,000 views. Just to give you like an idea, like I sold a couple hundred, or sorry, I only sold like 100 for the first version, and then I sold a couple hundred for the second version.
Got you.
Yeah, but the first version, yeah, sorry, it sold out like, it was like kind of a slow rise. And then the second version was just like hit immediately. And then, yeah, it's like crazy the amount of traffic I was getting.
Yeah, that's wild. And so you're like designing these yourself, right?
Yeah.
That's a crazy thing, yeah. That's insane. Where do you get the inspiration for that? Or where did you learn how to do that?
I've always been into design. I've never been into like stuff that's too concrete, like math or physics or chemistry and stuff. I think about everything very abstract. So with that being said, I never excelled in school. Like I was like kind of like a bum, and my parents were like super worried about me. But I've always had a creative mind. I remember in high school I designed like this house in drafting class. So it was like glass and like a wavy roof, and my teacher was like, what is this? Like it's never gonna work. But like all of my friends loved it, and then I had it on display in front of the school. It was really cool. And then like, yeah, I just think about design as like this, like for liquid metal, I really wanted to create something that was visually appealing for TikTok. Like no matter how you shoot it, from any angle, if I hold it, if I like pan around it or whatever, like I really wanted to create something visually appealing. And then there's a designer in Toronto called Sean Brown. He created like puddles, and he made it like I think out of acrylic. And then I was like, okay, the thing about acrylics, you can't really like bend it that well so that it like melts. I was like, I have a chance here, so that I just designed liquid metal, and it's like a similar concept, but I'm making it melt, and it's like made out of metal. It's like way more heavyweight. I think it's like 3 or 4 times the weight of his product. And yeah, I think it just hit. Yeah.
You actually made a video, right, about the idea of it. I think you like poured like water onto the shelf, and then like all of a sudden it turned into like the product. It was really cool.
Yeah. So like I really needed to evoke an emotion. Like one of the key points to going viral on TikTok is to evoke an emotion, right? A really great example of this is Tabs, the sex chocolate that's been going viral on TikTok. Right, like no matter how he shoots that product, it evokes some like a very strong emotion, right? And then this like melting metal, I think it's like, oh, is it gonna like keep dripping? It's like reflective, you know, like this, it's like blends very seamlessly onto like my shelf. So that was like the plan. Like everything was planned. Like I didn't like stumble across it. I didn't get lucky. I had like 40 different ideas before this, and this is the one I rolled with, and it worked. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's sick. You said something there. So 2 things. You said to evoke emotion is like one of the keys to go viral on TikTok. But you also said you wanted to make your product very visual. Do you feel like that's another important thing to include in a product to make it go viral on TikTok? Do you feel like it's important, I guess?
Yeah, 100%. Like it really needs to pop. There's so much products I see on TikTok that is like very basic, and it has the audience 100%. But if you really want to experience that virality of TikTok, you really need to like have a product that like grabs your attention immediately, right? And I think liquid metal like hits all of like those check boxes, and I think that's what makes it like super successful and super viral.
Yeah, something we see a lot of as well. The clients we work with, or even clients we've not worked with in the past, you know, they come in, they're like, you know, we want you to elevate our brand or whatever, and it's like, I don't want to disrespect you, but just the product you have is just not designed for what you're trying to do here. You're better off just running some like, you know, ads, photo ads, or whatever the case is, because you're ultimately going to, like, your goals are way too big for what your product is, essentially. So it's interesting that you feel the same way. In terms of platforms, I just want to dig into platforms a little bit. TikTok has obviously been really successful for you. What other platforms are you that active on? I know you're a little bit on Instagram, but are you YouTube or not really? I've not looked, I'll be honest.
No, main thing is TikTok. Now I'm going into Instagram Reels. I only recently started posting Instagram Reels, and just to be transparent to anybody listening, the main reason was I was scared of what my friends would think. Like that's the only reason. And I highly regret that right now, because if I posted Instagram Reels at the beginning of when I started posting heavily on TikTok, my business would easily be like 2 or 3 times the size it is right now.
Really?
Yeah. What are you basing
that on?
It's just the amount of like waitlist signups I have right now, and then the amount of like DMs I get like of people that want liquid metal, because it sold out like 2 weeks ago, and like the amount of DMs I have now is insane. And my brand's Instagram following tripled in size just from like I didn't even plug the brand. It was just like through finding me and then finding the brand. And then I jumped from 11,000 followers to today morning it's like 33.5 thousand followers.
That's a lot on Instagram as well. Like we talk millions on TikTok, but like, nah, I'm not trying to like throw shade at you, no disrespect. What millions on TikTok is amazing, of course. But if you had like you convert that to Instagram, it's like that's different. That's crazy. So yeah, pushing more Instagram Reels, I guess. And why were you then afraid? Not afraid, but like you didn't do it because what your friends would judge you or what? And actually, to add to this, were you doing it on TikTok without anyone knowing for a while?
Yeah, nobody really knew what I was doing on TikTok. I was very hidden. I didn't post much about my TikTok success on Instagram. Only some of my close friends knew, or people who just kind of like just scroll up and say, "Oh, I didn't know you were like big on TikTok." That was like the general consensus of like my relationship with TikTok. Instagram, it's just like my friends are all very go to school, get a good job, and they all have like amazing jobs. And I was just worried like they're just gonna be like, yo, this guy's a bum. Like, you know? Like even though like I know like, you know, my agency is like pretty successful, like Blanked is going well, I was still worried. Like I'm just being as honest as I can, and I hope like whoever listens to this like knows like you're not alone. Like if you're like, everybody's scared of like what other people think, right? But yeah, one day I was just like, if I'm all in, I need to go all in. Like I need to be all in. So I started showing my face more. I started doing voiceovers more, and then I'm just gonna push as much content as I can, because I really don't want to end up like 5 years down the road I'm just like, I should have done this, I should have done that. Yeah, I'm really giving everything I got in terms of content, at least.
No regrets, eh? What made you overcome that then? Was there something that just clicked, or were you just like, fuck it, I don't care anymore?
No, nothing clicked. I literally was just like, yo, you need to stop being so scared of like, yeah, you know, like, can I swear? I was like stop being such a pussy, you know? So then I was just like, just gotta do it. Like nothing really clicked.
Yeah, I feel like that's the biggest motivation for any man. Just that one quote there: "Stop being such a pussy," or "Stop being such a bitch," or something. It's just like as soon as we hear that, we're like, okay, I'm doing it now.
Yeah, like just like actually, like if you really want it, like you really need to just get it. Like just stop listening to your head and like just start taking action. You know, like everybody's always screaming like take action. Like that's literally all you need to do, right? Yeah.
Sure. Sometimes easier said than done. Hey everyone, sorry to interrupt the episode. I just wanted to say really quick that over the last few months, myself and the team here at 2610 have been working super hard on a book that will no doubt change your entire approach to social media. It's packed full of incredible information and value, and we cannot wait to share it. With that said, we want to reward you, a viewer, a listener to this podcast, by giving it to you completely for free when it becomes available. You really don't want to miss this, so click the link below and we'll be in touch. Now let's get back to the episode.
Yeah. So I think I said this earlier. You done a video recently talking about Figma. Do you use that like for all of your kind of like designs and stuff? Because it looks like, I've never really used it, but it looks like quite a handy software to have for the industry that you're in.
Yeah, 100%. Figma is like an industry must. Like, if no matter what you're doing, I highly recommend Figma. For me, it's just like a huge whiteboard. Like I mentioned in the video, like I can dump whatever I want on it, and I can like just draw. Like for me, I'm very good at visualizing things, like how things are at like a side angle. So for the incense holder, I designed it in Figma before I even put it in Cinema 4D. So I designed the side, the top, the front before I even like put it into any other like 3D software. It's just, and like mood boards, like you could just throw a bunch of pictures on there and organize it super easily. I designed all of my packaging on there. Like I said, like I'm super good at visualizing like 3D things into like a 2D plane. So I just kind of laid it out on Figma, and then I put it in the 3D software.
Yeah,
and then just export everything to PDF, PNG, whatever you need. It's super straightforward for me, at least. And I think like the best tools you can use is just like tools that you're most skilled in, right? Like you could give a beginner like the best software for 3D products, and you give a pro like some like random software. But like if that pro is like super like skilled in that program, they're gonna crush you every single time, right? So for me, like I'm just doing what works for me. It definitely isn't industry standard, but it works for me, and then, like my workflow, it works really well. Yeah, I eventually I will get into like the really professional softwares, but for now, that's just like what really works for me.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's true. Sorry, go ahead.
Have you noticed a change? Because Adobe, not did they buy Figma? I guess I don't know if they bought it, but they definitely.
They did buy it. I haven't experienced any changes.
It's getting nice.
I used Adobe XD before, which is the exact same program, but just Adobe. But I like the collaborative nature of Figma.
Interesting.
Yeah. We used it a couple of times, right, Rich?
Yeah, we use it
for planning a lot of ideas for clients, things like that. Like you said, like a kind of like a mood board as well. Just coming back to like the content as well, because obviously I watched a video about you like with Figma. The way that you bring it back to make more content about packaging and like the boxing, like that really impresses me, because we've had like podcasts where we try and give ideas where what a client could do for like a business or brands, and the packaging side of thing you do, like the videos are just awesome. Like sometimes I'll get an order come through and it will just be like a really, I don't know, like a tacky bag that is ripped apart from deliveries, but yours are, again, like aesthetically pleasing boxes, and you just make content from that, like the design, the unpackaging. Like, was that like kind of the idea you already had, or was that just kind of along the way you was like, oh, this could be a good video maybe?
No, it wasn't. It didn't just come to me. It was like planned as well. So what I did, like when you go on social media, I follow like LV, Hermes, Chanel, etc. Like every single like advertisement that they put out, it's always like some like old guy in like a warehouse hammering away, cutting the leather, stitching it by hand, like super meticulous, right? So I'm just like, why don't I do that for my brand? Like, why don't I just show them like every single step of the way, like how I'm designing this, like, and I could film it, right? I could somewhat storytell, and I was like, okay, so for this box, like, how do I explain it in a way that it's like kind of like just like a luxury house brand? So I was like, okay, the blue color, why I chose this blue color, how it reveals itself, like why is it like sliding out like this, the foam, like why I have like this velvet lining which is super premium, like why is it like that? And then I was like, oh, I have like these incense plugs, how am I going to incorporate it into the box? Oh, it's like I'm going to laser cut 2 holes, right? And it's going to like meticulously like sit in there, and then when you pull it out, it's going to be like super, like I'm really selling the feeling of how the customer is going to be unpackaging it. And I'm not overselling, it's actually like how it feels. Like it's like really nice. And like the texture is just like an iPhone box. I literally told my supplier, it's like, I want the texture of an iPhone box, and I want like when you open it, it like slides like slow and then it gets faster. Like there's a ton of like attention to detail in the packaging, and I can't wait for people to get it. I get like DMs from people. It's like, oh, can I just buy the box? It's crazy to me, right? Yeah,
that's really cool. And like again, going back to earlier on when I mentioned, did you have like a team with you, or is it just you? And you said it was just you. It blows my mind thinking about, like, for me, I would have to have so much time dedicated to just thinking about the product. With you, you think about the product, you think about the packaging, you think about the content, you think about all the different styles that you have to put in it, and you obviously edit the videos. Like, it all comes into you. So, like, big respect to you for what you do. Again, like,
thank you.
You're only 24 years old. That is a great mindset to have.
Yeah, you're thinking.
Yeah, thanks.
You're thinking literally about everything, which is really inspiring and very eye opening. Even something that I've literally just noticed now, and that's the blue hoodie. Is there a particular story behind that?
Well, this is like my brand's hoodie.
Yeah.
I just think like whatever I'm going to be, I'm just gonna wear this hoodie.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm like my biggest supporter. You know.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. It's almost like a sports team at this point. But yeah, no, I just realized that I was just like scrolling through it. I was like, wow, he's wearing that blue hoodie in 95% of his videos, which again just adds to the aesthetic, and it looks great. Probably something you thought about as well. Now knowing you, something that looks great against the white background and stuff. It's like very aesthetic.
Yeah, even like shots of like me holding the box, I could not wear the blue hoodie, but I would wear the blue hoodie and then hold the box, and then just in the corner it's like blue, and then it matches the blue inside the box. Like every single shot I do is like very, very meticulously planned, and you know, it's just my way of like visual storytelling. Like everything is cohesive, everything matches. It's like you pattern recognition of like the blue color. And if I just keep posting stuff, like keep posting content with this blue color, it eventually is gonna, you know, like be ingrained in people's mind.
Yeah, definitely, it will. That's something that I'm now picking up already.
Like even just watching, like if you just hover over some of these videos, it's just when you now see it, like the blue just like popping up, and you probably got that consistent with all the colors, you know, with the white, with I think the orange is quite consistent too.
Yeah.
Really interesting. It's it's really impressive what you're doing. I just want to talk and ask a couple of questions about the future of content. I guess we spoke a moment ago about like where you're basing yourself, and like you're starting to go more into Instagram and stuff like that. Is there any doubt in your mind that, or is there a fear in your mind about TikTok and the future of it, or are you like, you don't really care, whatever, you'll just do it in another platform?
If you asked me this question a month ago, I'd be shitting bricks.
Okay.
But now that like I know Instagram Reels works, and I like just don't care what other people think, I'm kind of like whatever about it now. I just, because at the end of the day, it comes to like my skills, right? Like if I put my mind to it and I put 100% my effort to it, I think whatever platform I eventually end up at, I think I'll like eventually do well. Instagram Reels luckily is working out for me, so I'm going to be pushing the two really hard simultaneously, and like maximizing the amount of attention I can get from these two platforms.
Interesting.
In terms of like just TikTok ban, I'm not too worried about it. Like in my opinion, I don't see it getting banned. But you never know.
Just one thing as well, like we say about if the TikTok was banned, have you ever gone to Facebook with your content?
I haven't, no. Going back to the agency, one of my clients has a lot of success with Facebook Reels. I personally haven't dabbled with it. I think maybe the target audience isn't like my exact niche, but I haven't done much research about it, so I won't speak that much about it. Yeah.
Okay,
that's fair. And what about YouTube Shorts? Just
I'm repurposing. I want to like do long form YouTube as well.
Nice.
Talk about creative design. Talk about the stuff we just talked about on this podcast. Kind of going into detail and like doing long form content. I dabbled with YouTube before, but I wasn't consistent and I gave up.
Yeah, it's a difficult platform you really need to go, when we say all in, you need to be all in, but predominantly just for YouTube. Like you can't just make a TikTok a TikTok video with like, you know, a random sound from TikTok and then just put it on YouTube because they're not going to have it, right? So you have to kind of tailor make content for YouTube, and, you know, with the opportunity that comes with TikTok, Instagram Reels, it's very difficult to go all in on YouTube right now. I get that, and it's a tough one to crack. But yeah, there's definitely one thing we do know is like if TikTok does go, you're going to be successful somewhere else. It's like you say, you just take your skills and just transfer it over to somewhere else. It might take you, you know, a while to build back up again, but I'm sure you'll have no problem doing that. You're doing everything pretty well, from what I can see. If someone's watching this right now and they were to go, shit, yeah, I want to do that, and they're just about to start, what lesson, number one, what would you give them? One piece of advice.
One piece of advice, I think, is just to start.
Yeah.
You know, like, people overthink so many things nowadays. Like, there's really no point. Like seriously, like, what are you waiting for, right? Like, everybody always says, like, tomorrow isn't promised, and that's true. It's 100% true. You never know what tomorrow holds. You might as well just start today. If you have like an idea, act on it immediately. Like, do it, like, literally do it right now, right? And I think that plays a huge role in I don't really call myself successful, but like my success so far. It's just whenever I have an idea, I just acted on it. Like for liquid metal, I had the idea at like 7 a.m. in the morning. By like 9 a.m., I drew out a shape and I covered it in tinfoil. By 10 a.m., I sent it to like 40 of my friends. All 40 were like, "This is fucking weird. Like, don't post this." And then by 12 p.m., like I'm not even lying. Like, this is like 100% true. By 12 p.m., I've emailed like 20 suppliers. By 3 p.m., I emailed 80. And then by like the next morning, only 2 replied, and I just went with 1. And that's the story. Like, it came to fruition within 2 days.
Wow. And
then I just immediately ordered the material. I refined it in Illustrator. I sent them, and I put it in Cinema 4D. I sent them a DXF file. They made it. And then a week later, I went viral. And that's how everything started. Like, I didn't think twice about it. Like, I had an idea and I just acted on it immediately. If it didn't work, it didn't work. I would have started the second idea, or the third idea, or the fourth, right? So I think, yeah, you really gotta take action immediately. Like don't wait. Like you can. I'm the king of excuses. Every morning before I go to the gym, I'm like, you know what? Last night I only slept 7 hours. I didn't sleep 8. It's better for my health. You know, like it's like I have so many excuses, but you know, I'm getting better at like fighting them off, and like, yeah, just don't really have excuses. Just start. Yeah.
That comes with age, Brandon. That comes with age. Wait till you like. I struggle to sleep 8 hours a week at this point. One thing though that was even more impressive about all of that was you said you had 40 friends. That's pretty cool. I don't even think I know 40 people, honestly. I've got this.
This is like a group chat.
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
I'm not close with all of them, but yeah.
Yeah. I believe you. Trying to tell us you're an introvert. Actually, you're just the most popular guy ever. Yeah, nice. If everything was to shut down, like social media was this is just hypothetical, of course, just little game, humor me. If everything was just to cancel tomorrow, like how would you go about doing business? Because you're clearly an entrepreneur, right? I don't see you as a guy, and don't take any offense to this. It's okay, because I'm the exact same. Scott, I know you're the exact. You wouldn't go and just get a normal job, right? So what would you potentially do?
Honestly, man, I would probably get a normal job.
Really? Really?
I think I would go back to school.
Okay.
First of all, I would finish school, and then I would apply to like Apple, Microsoft, like these big companies, and like just see how like a traditional company operates. I really want to learn, right? And the reason I didn't finish school and I didn't go to these traditional companies is because the way I'm thinking about business is completely different than how they are thinking about it, right? So I would still eventually build a business, but like immediate steps, if like social media shut off tomorrow, I would finish school and then go apply for a job, like work my ass off to get like into the best job I could possibly get. And in my world, that would be Apple. And just see how they operate, how they think about design, how are they marketing, right? In a world without social media. And then I would, after I get as much as I can from that job, I would launch my own business again. I'm not saying like I'm not going to do my own business. I 100% would, but like I'm a really stubborn person, but I'm not going to be stubborn to the point where I'm definitely not going to work a 9 to 5 if social media doesn't exist tomorrow. Like how am I like what am I going to do? Right? Like, I need to learn how a traditional business operates, right? So I'm just going to like grow a pair of balls, suck it up, and like do what I don't want for the end goal of doing what I do want to do, right? Like I think a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not going to go to school, but like, you know, like people have like too much pride. Like sometimes you really need to get into like do the stuff you don't want to do to like reach the end goal. Like you need to think long term. Yeah, so just full transparency, I would get a job just to learn as much as I can and then grow my own business after I like get all that knowledge.
Interesting. It's a good plan. You mentioned long term. What is long term? Social media exists again. It's all good. It was just a prank. Yeah. What's long term? What's the goal?
Long term for me, I think it's pretty basic. Like take care of my parents, take care of my family. I have a little brother I care deeply about. I really want him to kind of like just live his dreams, and like if I can support him anyway through my business, I think that would be really meaningful to me. Other than that, I think it's just to inspire, like, you know, it's so basic, like inspire someone. But growing up, like I was a really basic kid. Like I could not have been more of a basic kid. In high school, I had a lot of friends, but like I wasn't close. I didn't have a club. Like I wasn't like close with them. Like everybody's playing volleyball, playing basketball, and I was just kind of sitting there at lunch, like, you know, eating my sandwich or whatever. And if blank does go the way I want it to go, like, you know, it's just like a story, like this regular Asian kid with like immigrant parents, like made it, right? And if that could inspire like one kid to like take a leap of faith and like chase his dreams, right? Like I think that's super, super meaningful. And I also want to like open a design studio where like parents could drop off their kids. Like they don't need to pay anything. Everything is funded through the business, and they just create stuff, right? Like a lot of kids have so many ideas, but like because of like monetary limitations, they can't do anything about it. And I think that's bullshit, right? Like you should be able to like create whatever you want. So we'll have cameras, we'll have like drawing stuff, softwares, and they'll, you know, like you'll be under my wing and I'll like teach you everything I know. You can like film stuff, make movies, whatever, right? And like I think that would be super sick if I could like pull it off. Yeah,
that's really
those are
cool.
like my three main long-term goals.
Yeah, we need more we need more Brandons in the world, I think.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
well said,
really
Scott.
inspirational.
Definitely. That's really great values and the way you're thinking about everything, and yeah, it's really incredible. What you're doing, everything is, like I say, it's awesome just to see someone that's like very humble and very driven for the right reasons too. Like, you know, ultimately, like you said, you know, like, and I like that as well. It's not like I'm not successful yet, but my success so far. That's one of my favorite quotes of this episode. And yeah, I think it's inspiring, and it should be inspiring for a lot of people, you know, that can just start, and yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, and like, don't get me wrong, I do want the nice things in life, like, you know, I want the fast cars and stuff, but like that isn't a priority for me. Priority is family and inspiring kids and helping other people chase their dreams as well.
Great.
So,
that's really nice.
What fast car would you get first of all, or if you could only choose one, what would it be?
I don't think I'd get a fast car. I think the car I really want is the Aston Martin DBX, like the SUV. It's super underrated.
Yeah,
nice.
Just black it out.
It's nice.
Sick.
It's nice.
You'd probably put your
That's
own
cool.
design on it, right?
Yeah, I'll probably get like a blue interior
Oh.
for content.
I can see it. I
Nice.
can see it already.
Yeah.
Little
You have to
liquid,
let us
liquid
know when
metal
you get
hanging
this
up.
car, because it will happen. You will have this
Yeah,
car.
it will happen. It will happen. Definitely.
One day.
You've wrote here, so just for anyone listening, I guess we sort of write some notes before we jump on, obviously. And Brandon, you wanted to speak a little bit about support. I mean, you don't have to go into it. I'm just sort of putting it there. If you want to go into it, I guess you can.
Yeah. Like my parents are very traditional parents, and I think many people who are starting a business is like they all have very traditional parents in our day and age. And I see a lot of people have like they get this mixed up, like supporting you and believing in you. Right? Like for example, like you guys could have friends that want to start a business, you would support them 100%, right? Like if they started selling lemonade, you go every day to buy a cup of lemonade to support their business, but you don't necessarily believe that the business is going to succeed. But regardless, you're going to support them. So my parents are the same. They don't believe in the business. They don't believe in like my vision, but they support me. Like not financially, but they would, like just going back to like 10 years ago, they would drive me to art class, right? Like every single day they would drive me to art, or like pick me up and drop me off from school, or they would help me. They would cook for me, or like do my laundry or whatever. Like I think that's all different ways of support. So I see a lot of people say like, oh, my parents don't support me. Like it just seems super ungrateful in my opinion. You really have to like be grateful for what your parents are doing. At the end of the day, it comes from a place of love. Like they really care about you. So even if my parents don't believe in me, I know like they support me. So yeah, that's just like kind of what I want to like touch base on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess like in my experience anyway, like belief only comes from, there's got to be some sort of element of, like there's got to be some sort of evidence to back up the claim to then result in belief, right? Like it can't just be like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be an astronaut and, you know, it's just plucking something out there and it's like, okay, we'll support you, but yeah, we don't necessarily believe that's going to happen. Yeah, that's a great point. For anyone listening then, I mean, Scott, do you have anything else that you want to ask, or Brandon, do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
I mean, I don't have anything to ask. You've filled me with a lot in my head that has been super insightful, and just you're a great guy.
Thanks. Yeah, I think just like, follow Blank Studios on Instagram.
Yeah, I was going to say we do have
There
one
we go.
surprise for you, but before that, just please, this is your moment just to plug as much as possible. I'll be honest, like we're very new to this whole creating content game, but hopefully some people will tune in via yourself, of course. So yeah, follow Blank Studios Instagram. So I take it that's that's like your actual like brand Instagram, right? Like that's not your personal. That's yeah, cool. And what sort of content should they expect when they go there?
Yeah, I'm still kind of like figuring out the actual content pillars for the social, like my brand social media, but just expect a lot of like more behind the scenes from a brand's perspective rather than just my personal perspective. Also, I'm dropping table lamps. I'm going to be doing like a bench and like a coffee table, kind of like a modular piece that I'm like currently developing. Just like a lot of like upcoming products. Yeah.
Nice.
Do you ship
Nice.
to the UK?
Working on it. A lot of regulations.
Cool. Yeah, I need a new lamp, so.
Yeah, I could get myself one of those modular benches as well. Table looks cool as well. Yeah, really awesome. So we do. I mean, is there anything else? I'm definitely going to follow Blank Studios 100% because I think
Definitely.
It's for any business or up and coming brand business, anything. I think it's always great to see the sort of process behind the scenes stuff, and something that I'm always interested in for yourself. That just getting an insight into what you're actually trying to do and what you're doing is class. Like it really is really cool, and I'd love to see more of that for sure.
Thanks, man.
And then join the email list, right?
Yeah. Join the email list. My drops are pretty limited, so if you want to get like early access, 100% join the email list.
Love that.
That's like your best chance of like securing a drop for sure.
How does one do that?
Yep, just go to blankstudios.com and then just input your email. Very simple. You don't need to confirm anything. And then I also drop like a monthly newsletter showing like behind the scenes of stuff that I'm working on. So you get a good idea. You can like forecast, like what's about to come up and like, what you can like buy in the future. I'm dropping a bigger version of liquid metal. That's going to be like 10 inches wide. That's coming up. Like a lot of people have messaged me for that, and it's coming.
That's cool. That's cool. No, definitely. And we'll link everything below everywhere that we drop this. One final thing, we got a surprise for you, Brandon. How are you with like advertising? Like, we spoke about it before. It's like when you see something you kind of know, and please, by the way, do not be worried about failing at this. This is extremely hard. Basically, we're going to play a little game. It's a game called Guess the Ad. I'm going to share a video with you, and you get a minute to sort of guess it. There is a clue, but there's 5 categories. So you just simply pick a category, a niche that you believe that you might have the best chance in, and then of course you're the first guess. So like, if you get it, then basically we'll do like a competition running, and whoever gets it in the quickest time is going to be overall champ. I don't know what that gets you or when that will ever end, but let's just humor me, please. So the 5 categories are cars, tech, food and drink, movies, or video games. Choose your character.
Let's do cars.
Cars.
I
Okay.
had a feeling you was going to go for that.
Okay. So I'm going to link this right now. You ultimately get like 3 seconds. Like, it's not easy at all. Yeah, and the clue is actually part of it. It's part of the title. So I'm going to send this in the chat right now. You simply click on that and just tell me when it loads up for you, and I'll start the timer.
Okay, can I read the clue now?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Okay.
So the clue, just for everyone listening, I actually can't read it because the sun is reflecting off my screen.
I could read it. It's the ultimate symbol of prestige, quality, and unrivaled automotive engineering.
It's quite wordy. Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, so when you're ready to go, you're probably already watching it, and I don't blame you. Your minute starts
I have it
now. Guess the ad.
All right. What the fuck?
The ultimate symbol of prestige, quality, and unrivaled automotive engineering. Any ideas?
I tend to look at like the colours first, and then I sort of look for any kind of symbolisation. Trying to, I don't know if that helps at all.
That is so difficult. It's ridiculous.
I think I'm gonna go with Maserati.
Oh no, but it does begin with an M. You've got 15 seconds.
Mercedes.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes. Good going. It was Mercedes from 2017. King of the City Jungle. That was the campaign.
Nice.
Interesting. We should really have the link of the full video to actually clear that up, but that's difficult. Not giving a lot away there. That's Heather, our marketing lead, that does actually always stitches us up. It's usually impossible. I mean, that was definitely impossible. Without the clues, we would never have got there. But no, good job. Good job.
Thanks.
And I guess that's it. It was an absolute pleasure, Brandon. Absolute pleasure. And I wish you all the success in the world. Yeah, you don't need any.
Thank you so much.
I was going to say I wish you luck, but you don't need any luck. You're smashing it. And
He doesn't need it.
no, exactly.
He's going
Exactly.
strong. I hope to like when in the future comes around to be like, yeah, I met that Brandino guy. I hope you remember us as
Brandino,
well.
yeah.
You probably won't.
No,
It'll be-
100%. No, like we should. This is a lot of fun. We should definitely do it again sometime in the future.
Love that.
100%.
Love
You're
that.
welcome anytime, man.